Hey guys, Tom, Permaculture Wilmington here. Hope you guys are having a great day in this crazy time. Everybody's quarantined, staying at home hopefully, so this thing can pass. And eventually we will all get back to business. But for now, we've got a lot to do around the yard. Composting is a very important topic. It is something that we need to do, especially if we don't have a complete loop, a closed loop system, as the permaculture method implies that you will have if you keep it up. But to start out with, we have to compost. So we compost all the scraps that we have in our yard, all the scraps we have from our tables. There's eggshells in here, there's banana peels, all that good stuff. But that's all nitrogen. So we need some carbon in here. So for carbon, we get paper, we get cardboard. I've got cardboard over here, paper shredding from my girlfriend's work. She works in the medical industry, so they shred a lot of paper. So she brings a lot of this shredded paper home. We use it under our mulch and our pathways. We also put logs under our mulch before, we pull the wood chips back and dig holes and then put the logs down. So kind of a hugelkultur thing. But we've got some green. We have, this is coffee grounds that we put in, that we get from a local coffee shop. We drop these buckets off and they just put coffee grounds in them, and we go pick them up once a week. So we also have some biochar here, good biochar, not ash. Ash is something totally different. This is basically a very light version of wood. It's got most of the wood taken out of it, so it's just kind of the hull, and what's left behind are all these little pores where the bacteria can live in, breed and thrive while they are doing their business, making some humus for our gardens. And that is awesome stuff. Awesome sauce for sure. So what we've got here is a bucket from the kitchen, and what you're seeing here, this is actually a bug stick. It's got that sticky stuff that the bugs stick to, and if you put organics in your house in a bucket, they're going to start degrading, they're going to attract flies. You're going to have some flies, but it's part of the ecosystem, and we need to be happy with that. We need to be okay with that, so we have to work with it. And one of the ways I've found to work with it is to put a bug stick. So just some sticky tape or something, but this is nice because you can sit it in and take it out as long as you don't put food on it. Sometimes that happens, we forget occasionally. But that's a real good method of keeping the flies down in the kitchen for sure. So we just take the scraps from the kitchen, dump it right in here, and then once we do it, and I can actually do that to show you guys since we can go ahead and rock this video out. Boom! Ta-da! Now there is some paper in there, so usually what I do is take the paper and kind of move some things around here, just to kind of get a nice level surface if possible. Okay, nice level surface. Some of the stuff will break down over time. So, and then we're going to take a little biochar and just spread it out in there. Little biochar. Sometimes it's good to break it up a little bit with a hammer, maybe a towel or something over top of it, get some smaller pieces, because remember, these are microbiology. We can't see them. They are so small, and they can actually live in all those little pores. So pretty good stuff. Now once we get that down there, we want to grab some carbon. So we got our nitrogen, we've got our hotels for our bacteria to live in while they're in there eating the nitrogen, and now we're going to cover them up because they like darkness. So darkness is a good thing for bacteria. And that's what we're breeding. That's what compost is. We're just breeding bacteria, and when they eat, they create heat. So the heat that they create speeds up the process, and we can utilize that, but we don't want to do that in the slow composting process, because if it heats up too much, we won't be able to get it out of here in time and aerate it so that it cools down. So that is another method that I'm going to take you over. That's Jeff Lawton's method of fast composting in 18 days. It's really 18 to 30 days, but depending on how you do it. If you don't turn it every day or every other day, then it ends up being about 30. And that's where we're at. I think we're at 20 right now. So let's go over to that bin, and I will show you what's going on. Oh, we didn't cover our worm bin. Oh my goodness. Back to the worms. Yes, worm bins are another way of composting. This is all again, some more vegetation from the kitchen, but a lot of the stuff, like these are vines I pulled out of some of the bushes from right on the border of the neighbors. They've got these vines growing that they just go crazy. So I pull them out and put them in here, feed them to the worms, so they end up being fertilizer for my food. This is fertilizer for the food we're going to be eating, and I got it from things that aren't even that desirable. This is great. Instead of spending money, we can just take the scraps from our yard that we're going to be throwing away anyway and turn it into fertilization. And the best part of worms is the worm tea. Look at that awesome sauce. That's nothing but bacteria-filled juice. and that revitalizes the soil. So you put that stuff around your plants, and it's just like saying, here you go, here's a nice home, and here's some food, and you're just inviting all these wonderful things to come into our lives and feed our plants for us. Because as you guys have figured out by now, I'm sure, we don't actually feed the plants. They don't eat soil. The bacteria that's in the soil convert nutrients into plant-soluble forms. So without the bacteria and the worms, we would not be able to grow anything. We would not be able to eat from our yard, or eat anything for that matter, because nothing would grow. That's the whole process. So here we have Jeff Lawton's 18-day compost. This is about halfway through now, so what we're going to do is take it today, because I left it for a day. I turned it 2 days ago. So now we're going to take it and we're just going to put it here. So the point of showing you this is to show you that you need space, but you don't really need a bin of any kind. So his method is kind of just keep it out in the open for the most part, except for the first couple days, but I don't think that matters so much, as long as you have a good pile. So the goal is to get a good pile like this, and then initially you layer it. This one's been turned so it looks all mixed in, but you'd have layers. So you'd start with your green, which is like your leaf matter, your fresh leaf matter, fresh off the trees, and there are some greens that you get off trees that are mostly carbon, so you want to make sure that what you're using is like grass clippings or something that's really high in nitrogen. But you would do the nitrogen, and then you do the carbon, nitrogen, carbon, and 50-50 all the way up, making each layer the exact same size, and leave that for a week, and then you turn it and put it over here. And you use, typically a pitchfork is the easiest. When you start out it takes a little while because the pieces kind of clump onto the pitchfork. So, you know, at the start it's a little bit of work, but towards the end it's really simple just to come out with a pitchfork, because everything's starting to like crumble up and fall apart. Like if I got my hands in this and started turning it, you can see it's already got some sandiness, some soilness to it. But again, it still needs some time, definitely. But it's hot, man. It's super hot. And I do have a thermometer, a compost thermometer that I use to test the temperature. And just from touching it right now, it's probably around 120, 130 or so. Just to give you an idea. But yeah, guys, that's composting. I hope you guys are having a good day. Permaculture Wilmington, Tom Sapp. Have a great day. Bye-bye.